What's going on, friends, family, those I know, those who I don't know? It's your boy, the Lawman, coming here, man, to talk to you on the dopest podcast on Spreaker. Man, it's the Antidote, man. I want to thank you guys for listening in. Thank you guys for coming in and listening to me and connecting with me and all that good stuff, man. I've got a great topic today, man. And so just be ready to actually hear me. Be ready to go. Be ready to be nourished. Be ready to be inspired. And all that good stuff. But before I go in, you know what I gotta do. I gotta let this music roll again. Let's go. Yeah, that's my homeboy, man. My homeboy Anthony McQuarters, man. He dropping on the beats and stuff that I need for my podcast, man. So I'm super excited, man, and I thank him for actually doing what he's doing, man. But yeah, man, I'm super excited about today. I'm super excited about what I'm about to drop tonight, man. I normally don't drop a podcast at night, but I did drop this one at night. It's kind of crazy, but it's all good. But yeah, today, man, I know you guys see the topic, and it's called Soil Planet. You know what I'm saying? And what I want to convey and what I want to put out there is this: is that you don't plant seeds in dirt. Now, I know you heard that and you was like, "What is he talking about?" I heard him say, "You don't plant seeds in dirt. Don't you put it in dirt?" Well, you don't call it dirt. You actually call it soil. And the reason why you call it soil is because it has more nutrients in it than just regular dirt. So think about it. You know what I'm saying? The dirt that we dig up and actually put over graves and stuff like that and all that, put in graves and stuff like that, it don't have the nutrients to produce. It can, but it's not tilled. It's not nurtured. It's not, adding the right nitrogen and all those ingredients that we need in there for the actual plant to actually germinate and do what it needs to do, right? And so I said germinate. I don't know why I say that, but I'm trying to sound scientific, but whatever. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But we call it soil. And so when we plant something, we call it soil. And so what I wanted is to really talk to you about is the things that you're listening to, the things that you are actually hearing in your ears, the things that you're actually seeing with your eyes. Understand your eyes are listening too. Now, what I mean by that is that what you see, sometimes it goes into your brain and it communicates to you in a way that now it tells you that this is truth, or this is what I need to pay attention to, or I need to move away, or something like that. So your eyes are actually communicating too. So your eyes actually hear too. I know it's a different concept, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, the things that you're hearing, the thing that you're watching, I want you to look at those things as being seeds. All right. So you may be listening to a podcast like this, or you may be reading books or doing those different things. Know that these are seeds. These are seeds that are being flown and thrown out every single day. And the reason why I came up with this, and the reason why I wanted to actually do this podcast on this area, is because I was actually in the barbershop. And when I was in the barbershop, I was actually watching the news. Right. And I saw that the news is on from 5 a.m. sometimes 4:30, but let's say 5 a.m. to 9 o'clock. So for 4 hours, they're saying the same stuff over and over again, but it's so negative. It's so depressing. It's so like, oh my God, this person was shot. This is what's going on in the world. Everybody's sick. Everybody's going to die. The whole world is coming to an end, and all this type of stuff, right? And so all this stuff is going on for 4 hours straight. And the average person, when they're trying to get up to go to work, get the kids going and moving, whatever, they turn on their TV to listen to the news. And they may say, hey, I'm just listening to the news so I can get the weather, whatever. You listen to the whole thing. If you want to just get the weather, look at your phone, ask Siri or ask Alexa, something like that. But you're nosy enough to want to find out what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's coming from a guy, and trust me, it's coming from a guy who don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in man, it's been some years, right? So I don't watch the local news or nothing like that. So it's been years, right? And I know people say, well, you're not being informed. I don't want to be informed. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to create my own atmosphere. I'm going to create my own way. And and I'll live like that and I'll breathe like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually, if it's something super and over important, I guarantee my phone was going to say it. I guarantee that everybody in the world is going to tell us. So I don't need to watch the news to actually be that informed. Put it that way. So, but this is on like for 4 hours, right? So then you wake up in your morning, you get up in the morning, you're trying to get everybody out. You trying to get together to go to your work, go to your job. Some people go to a job they don't like, and they trying to get there, and they getting bombarded with all this negativity. Now, your brain is the super active and the most active when you first wake up. I'm talking about all brain waves are moving and flowing when you first wake up. And so if you don't set the tone when you wake up to have a positive outlook on the day, then you be like, man, where's my energy? Why I don't have any energy? Well, you woke up to negative energy that's constantly sucking things out of you. And so this is the reason why I did this podcast, is because I'm saying to you this, is that whatever you're pouring into yourself and whatever you're receiving, those things are seeds, right? Okay. So let me drop this knowledge on you real quick. And I don't want to go straight biblical, and which I am going to go a little biblical, but I'm not going to read scripture verbatim. But when God created the earth, I'm a Jesus lover. I'm a God fan. You know what I'm saying? When God created the earth, right? When God created the earth, before he made man, he spoke something to the dirt, right? And he said that the dirt will bring forth fruit, right? The dirt will bring forth, it will produce, it will reproduce, right? It will be, in it is the ability to reproduce. In it is the ability to bring forth, to make things happen, to get things going, right? So that's what he spoke on dirt, right? That's what he spoke on earth. I'm not gonna call it dirt, but that's what he spoke on the earth, right? And then once he spoke on the earth, he called forth plants, he called forth all those things, right? So with that being active, the last thing he did, he created man. But he created man from where? From the dust of the earth, right? So now whatever God spoke out of his mouth, it must produce. It has to happen, right? So knowing that if you put a seed in the ground, right? You put a seed in the ground, and once you put the seed in the ground actually begins to produce the fruit, the tree, the whatever it is it needs to produce. Then guess what? We're the same way. We have the same properties inside of us. We're going to reproduce whatever seeds come in us. And no, those seeds are not just like natural seeds, like apple seed and all that type of stuff. You can swallow apple seed and it's not going to produce a tree out of you. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is those seeds are seeds of thoughts. It can be positive or negative. Seeds of books that you read. Seeds of shows that you watch. Seeds of movies that you watch. Seeds of TV shows. And what else? Radio, podcasts. Those things are the seeds that are coming into our lives, are being deposited into our lives, and now they're being deposited within us. And now, if we don't be like the farmer to till the ground and get rid of the bad stuff, it's gonna find a way to produce. And so sometimes you're struggling, and your struggle is because you are soil and you have the right nutrients to produce and manifest. And what's happening is you're manifesting something that you don't want. You're manifesting something that you don't need in your life. And the crazy thing about it is sometimes your fear is attached to what you've been listening to. Sometimes your fear is attached to what you've seen. Think about it, right? I know people to this day that won't fly in a plane, right? Till this day, they won't fly in a plane. They so afraid of planes. And the first thing they say when you ask them, say, hey, why are you afraid of flying in a plane? You know what they say? Because they crash. And I'd be like, what? Because they crash. And I'm like, that's not the reason. Because if that was the reason, right? Buses crash, bikes crash, cars crash, and I don't see them afraid of flying. I don't see them afraid of driving, riding a bike, or getting on a bus. I don't see nobody locked in their house that afraid of crashes that they're not there. So the real fear is that they saw somebody else was in a crash, right? The real fear is that that what was in their eyes so much that this plane went down. You know, now check this out. The safest way to travel is flying. The safest way to travel is flying. And People like, no, no, no. You know why they don't think it's the safest place? Because they can't control it. That's the only reason they can't. That's the only reason they have a fear of flying is because they can't control it. But that's the people who have flown. Now, those who haven't flown before and they still afraid of flying, you don't have a point of reference. You don't know what it feels like. You don't even know it's there. At least if you flew and you know that it sucked and it scared the piss out of you and you didn't want to do it no more, I'm kind of like stuck and saying I'm gonna listen to you. But those who don't, who have never flown before, casting thoughts and saying it's fearful, it's horrible, and then now they start to perpetuate that thing down their line. Kids start believing that, grandkids start believing that, great grandkids start believing that, and they believe in that stuff because they didn't even experience it. But then somebody goes and experiences it. And when somebody goes and experiences and gets the different feedback, now they saying, no, it's all right. It's good. It's great to fly. It's amazing. Right. So we get into places, and goes back to my point. We get into places and we start to dictate in our lives things that being placed inside of us. Right. And because we are soil and because we have the right nutrients to produce, we're producing things that don't benefit us. So you may be saying, man, one time, 2 times I'm up, 3 times I'm down. I go forward and I step back. I move this way and I find myself sabotaging myself. You're sabotaging yourself because you're not putting the right ammunition or putting the right things in you so that you can combat the day. Understand this. You're going to fight every single day. You're going to have a battle every single day. There's not going to be a day that you don't have a battle or a fight. Let me say that again. There's not going to be a day that you don't have a battle or a fight. But you want to be as prepared as possible so that when the fight shows up, as we can put it this way, when life shows up, you're so prepared that you can handle it. You're so prepared that you're knocking it out. You're so prepared that you're moving where you need to go. You're so prepared that when you're in the midst of the battle, you have peace. Like a person who knows what they got, knows what's happening, knows how to strategically get through everything, they got peace in the battle. And so you may be wrestling with things and you may be fighting with things and battling with stuff, but you battling with stuff that's been sown in your soil that you had no, you didn't know it was there, right? And so let me go to another biblical thought, man. Jesus talked about a sower, right? And he said the guy went out, right, and he planted some good crops. He had some good crops, and once he had the good crops, he laid down and went to sleep. And when he woke up, he had weeds. He had bad crop. And they was like, where did this come from? I know I did not sow this stuff. I know I did not put this in the ground. And then the servant said, sir, your enemy did that. And so you got to look at things that are negative, things that are not producing, things that are not pushing you to your next level as enemies. I don't want you to start looking at people. I know the moment I say enemies, people go to people. It is what it is. Don't go to people. I'm talking about the things that you have control over. The things you have control over that you are allowing to happen in your life. What are you looking at on Facebook? What are you looking at on Instagram? Man, listen, you can set the tone of what you see when you go to those sites. You don't have to allow, Facebook or Instagram or YouTube to show you stuff that's going to be negative. You don't have to go do that. You know what I'm saying? You can set the tone of what you need to watch. And so you need to have the type of attitude. You need to have the type of fearlessness to go ahead and correct what's in you, what you're watching. Get rid of those books that you're reading that's not helpful. Like you reading a romantic novel and expect your mate to fulfill what the romantic novels they do. Now, if you bring that to their attention, right, and they fulfill that thing, is it sustainable? Probably not. It's probably not. It's fiction. Somebody wrote it, and they wrote it for the moment. It's not a sustainable thing. So you're trying to make a lifelong decision on something that is a temporary moment. It is not sustainable. So stop allowing stuff going into your soil. I'm going to say it like this. Your soil is your brain and your heart, right? Stop allowing stuff going into your soil and start to produce. Because guess what's going to happen, right? If you let that thing go for a long time, let me say it like this, and I'm going to go ahead on and get out this podcast. You know me, I don't like to do it, talk long, but check this out. If you let it go long, right, and you don't deal with it, guess what's going to happen? It's going to create roots. And once it creates roots, it's going to find deeper parts to get into, right? And it's just like a weed. You want to try to get rid of the weed. But no matter how you pull it up, no matter what you do, that weed still pop up. Why? Because there's some roots somewhere. And so if you don't get it at the root, if you don't find the end, or if you don't kill it and get down deep into the root, it's going to show up again. And so if you don't take care of this and get things that, that feed you, get seeds that feed your purpose, seeds that feed your momentum, seeds that feed what you're trying to do in business, seeds that feed what you're trying to do in your relationships, seeds that feed you trying to go where you need to get to, where you got to go, you're going to be digging up some stuff. And in the Christian community, they call it strongholds. You're going to be digging up some strongholds, and now you're fighting it for 2 years when you could have just easily just changed and cut it off. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys, man, for listening to me. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Man, this is this is my podcast. My name is Lawrence Thompson, aka The Law. Man, let me turn my music on. I need to ride with. Yeah, so let me but yeah, so, you know what I'm saying, make sure you guys tune in, man, once again next week as I bring in another dope topic, man, as we push this podcast to the next level. We're trying our best to continue to put out information. Listen, we do not take it for granted what we're putting out. We do not disrespect the mic. That's what I call it. We do not disrespect the mic to the point where we're giving you stuff that's not going to enhance you. It's not going to shift you. It's not going to move you to that next level. We're not going to be on here talking about stuff that's not going to perfect you in the areas that you're in. It's not going to help you. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're going to do. So continue to listen to this radio. I mean, I feel said radio. You know what I'm saying? Well, hey, I might be speaking that in position, right? But continue to listen to this podcast. Man, leave me your comments. Leave me your feedback. Let me know what I could do better. Let me know what I could do to help you. And even throw me some topics if you really want me to talk about the topic. I'm not afraid of any topic to talk about. And somewhere where it enhances the person, man. It builds their character and get them to that next level, man. So, hey, man, I love you guys, man. Be amazing. Be awesome, man. I'm going to sound out like I always do. We may not be the solution, but we will be the antidote. Love you guys. Peace.